Welcome back to this week's episode of the Cinema Sessions, a Dubliner's Guide to Cinema with myself, Keith, and as always,
Seamus. Hi, guys.
Thanks very much for joining us again this weekend. Or this week.
It is, well, whenever you're listening, folks, you're
We're recording on a Saturday, so you can forgive me.
Yeah, should you treat these things like they used to treat like live TV shows back in the day and just refer to it as like it's set in that time? Or
so on Tuesday the 20th.
Yeah, this Tuesday. I'll be doing.
On Tuesday the 14th of September, it is cold.
I believe the word for that is ephemeral, something that's kind of comes and goes, very theatre productions are ephemeral if they're not recorded. So you kind of feel that with old TV shows, and so that they're one and done kind of things. Yeah. But YouTube is forever.
When like I've explained this before, but we batch record, so it's very. You'd be surprised at how hard it is to try and timestamp something when you're
tie it to it.
I'm sure we do it all the time and don't notice it, but
yeah, well, I would be dying sometimes to reference like films I just saw in the cinema, usually to trash them, which you're like, probably better not, you know.
Yeah, because it could come out 6 weeks later. Like,
exactly, you know what I mean? And it'd throw everybody off. Yeah, but so sorry, Keith, can you go?
No, you're grand. As you can see from Seamus's beautiful Japanese disc, very nice. What's the word? Very nice
cover art, I think, is it?
No, cover art is the word, but very nice.
Oh, graphic
from an artist, from an artistic.
Yeah. It does actually. I think we talked off camera about this, but I think we both prefer the US one, where it's a very kind of odd yet evocative photo of Nick Cage.
True. I think we should mention that the film we're doing today is Snake Eyes.
Yeah. Anyone just listening be very fucking confused.
Yeah, exactly. What are these guys talking about?
Yeah, it's an unusual. It's very memorable, actually. Funny enough, it's him kind of looking up with his hands
making it
steepled. Almost. Whereas the Japanese one here, I will just describe it for anyone listening. They actually really tie into the themes of the film, even though I think graphically it's not as nice. So these seem to be the CCTV cameras, and there's a few images from the film on it, but just something about that simpler graphic of Nick Cage.
Because I mean, I must mention as well though, Culture War grifters in 2025 will tell you the only way to be a man is if you sit like this. So maybe Nick Cage was ahead of his time.
That explains a lot. That explains a lot of why those guys sit the way they do. Yeah. Oh my god. Jesus. I know Andrew Tate does that quite a bit. And a few of these other alpha male types.
I used to work in sales, and they do. It's not a lie. Body posture and doing things with your hands and all, it works. Like if you have a difficult customer on the phone and you're trying to sell them something, you stand up. Do you know what I mean? And it makes all the difference. Like, so I know it's done to death now and fucking podcasts and everything else about how to be the Sigma alpha male and all this. Like, but it does, shit like that does work, and there is actual like psychology behind it. And
well, there's obviously something to it, like how well some of those guys pull it off. But when I see those guys and they all look the fucking same, like they have the shaved heads and the beards, it reminds me of I had a Simpsons book when I was a kid, and they had a thing like what each look reveals about you. It wasn't the same thing. It wasn't an alpha male, but one of them, the caption on it was, "I'm a rugged individualist, just like everyone else." And I'm like, I'm an alpha male, just like everyone. I'm like, what are you? Like, you know. But on to the film at hand today.
Some may call Brian De Palma's magnum opus.
Some, very few, I think.
No. To be fair, you said that on the Braveheart episode, and I went, do you know what? I have to fit that in somehow. And I know this is not the film for it, but I felt good saying, I'm not going to lie.
Well, do you know, there's probably someone out there who would find, because I have my own take on De Palma that we'll kind of get into.
Just for shits and giggles, Brian De Palma directed Scarface, Carlitos Way. There's a laundry list of things that
Snake Eyes would be pretty low on the pecking order.
This is low hanging fruit.
So Snake Eyes is a mystery thriller from 1998, directed by Brian De Palma and written by David Koepp, starring Nicolas Cage, Gary Sinise, and Carla Gugino. The film is about a series of camera moves and cinematic techniques that De Palma wanted to use. It also takes place during a heavyweight boxing match in Atlantic City when a political assassination occurs inside the arena. Corrupt detective Rick Santoro must navigate a web of lies, surveillance footage, and hidden motives to uncover the truth, all while battling his own questionable ethics. The film has a 6.1 rating on IMDb with a Metacritic critic score of 52% and a user score of 6.3. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a critic score of 42% and an audience score of 35%. Snake Eyes' financial success is debatable, grossing about 103.9 million worldwide against a budget of 73 million. And on a personal note, folks, What's the fucking point anymore? Anyway, on to the film. I want to start off. Now, I live in, as my last comment maybe made, a world of neuroticism and conspiracy thinking and so on. I'm a huge Tarantino guy.
Yeah.
And he absolutely adores Brian De Palma. So I live in fear of this being the one he clicks on and be like, this motherfucker. I should maybe place Brian De Palma for me, because I think it'll explain kind of where I'm coming from. And I'll use Quentin Tarantino as well. When I hear someone say Jackie Brown is their favorite Tarantino film, which is a fantastic film, I go, okay, you're obviously not really a Tarantino fan. You don't really like...
Oh, you're such a prick.
What makes it? Sorry. Is that your favorite of his, is it?
No, it's definitely not my favorite, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't have the gall to say to someone's face. Like,
okay.
not.
Well, it's usually someone who is like, Pulp Fiction. I'm like, well, if you don't like Pulp Fiction, you just don't like
okay,
the
fair
guy.
enough.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it's not to question their, cineast kind of fucking credentials or anything. I'm just like, look, obviously what he does isn't really for you, because that's not really uniquely him, if that makes it. Even I think Jackie Brown is absolutely fantastic. I would have to say, in a similar vein, I'm not really a De Palma fan. I like some of his films quite a bit, but they tend to be the ones that are, he might even say, director for hire. So I really like Untouchables.
Yes.
Casualties of War, I think actually is really, really good.
I don't think I've seen Casualties
I
of War.
rewatched that. When I first saw that, I was genuinely like, Jesus, this film's a masterpiece. And I rewatched it recently enough, and it is, I still really, really like that. The first Mission Impossible, I like. There's a fucking rake of them, and now I'm going. But
Carlito's Way.
Carlito's Way, I do like.
Scarface.
Yeah. Now, I do not like Scarface.
Okay, that's a different podcast.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll have to get into that. That to me though would be, and I know he didn't write the script, but that would to me be like, this is what I mean when I say like the films that are his more personal ones. Like I bring up Tarantino because I listened to a podcast he did on Dress to Kill, and the way he talks about it, I'm just like, well, he's not putting this on. Like he adores this guy, and I don't see the same film as he does.
I think I'm going to get the word in early here. In the lexicon of directors who would be considered auteurs, maybe by some, hacks by others. But do you know what I mean? You had Tarantino's, you had David Fincher's, you had Scorsese's, you had De Palma's. In terms of, so those first three directors I named, I've seen just about everything they've did, even the shit stuff. With De Palma, like, I can pick out he did Carrie, didn't he?
He did do Carrie, yeah.
I really like Carrie, but that's separate. That wasn't in my thought process when I was thinking of this. But so I remember Carlito's Way, Scarface, Carrie. I've seen The Untouchables, but it's not something that if someone's telling me top 5 films, sit down, watch right now. I don't think there's one of them that I'd put in there. Like,
yeah, he just.
And there's some fantastic films in there, but that just, you never think, well, I know a lot of people would disagree and say, no, Scarface is one of them. You have to sit down and watch this.
Oh, there was a girl in the class I did once, and she was like, no, none of that Godfather bullshit. Scarface is where it's at. And
was she Cuban by any chance?
No, she wasn't. She saw things very differently from me. But like when I say this now, when you put him in that, I think pantheon is the word. Pantheon. Speaking of,
I just wanted to squeeze.
Words.
I just wanted to squeeze. See, we had a discussion beforehand, and I've mentioned the word lexicon in just about every podcast, and I tried to shoehorn it in there incorrectly, but
it's smooth enough, you know. Like
nobody would have noticed if I hadn't brought it up. So,
like, I wouldn't put him in my great directors list, but I don't have a problem with him being in there, because you can see this is a guy who is putting his mind on screen. Nothing I could ever say or do would take. I see that when I see his films. I find them indulgent, and like I was listening to that podcast with Tarantino. It's like, oh my god, that Dress to Kill, that scene in the museum, and I'm just like, I just seriously go like, come on, man, hurry up.
One thing I would say about De Palma in considerations of Snake Eyes, there's a lot of stuff in this that seems like it's been done to death now, but in 1998. A lot of this stuff is like kind of, whoa. I can imagine a cinema goer sitting there and going, hang on, this been one take. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I mean, I know I might be wrong, and there could be something obvious glaring at me in the face, but when I was thinking about it, I can't remember a big. Now I know we'll discuss it, but I know it's not one continuous take. But there's still vast amounts of that opening 15 minutes that are one
that
take.
Was that was very, very talked about at the time. Like,
he was the first, surely.
The one of that length. Now, as you say, it is. There's one moment where they don't even really try and make it that seamless. It's very, very near the start. So if you're... Sorry, guys, we'll just hop into it, start talking about the film as it occurs. It starts off with footage on a television screen, but it's being filmed. So
of that beautiful actress that is also in The Devil's Advocate. And I can't remember her name. And he said I wouldn't forget her name.
I remember that too, yeah.
She's a gorgeous woman.
She is, yeah. So it starts off with them, and then we introduce Nick Cage.
I'm sorry for laughing, but I said she's a gorgeous woman. She went, oh yeah.
Anyone rewind that, guys, or play it on the loop. But she's a
clip it.
I won't say what my father would have said, but so there is a cut kind of early on. So he talks to. It's actually kind of funny. So there's a reporter there played by an actor called Kevin Dunn, and then there's a character called Kevin Dunn later. The first cut, it doesn't actually try and match cut. What I mean is it doesn't try and fool you into. It does have the effect of not noticing a cut, but it jumps in size quite noticeably if you're looking for it. But then after that, they're all pretty seamless. And I know this is kind of arrogant, but I pride myself on being able to spot stuff like that, because you kind of know where they're going to do it. And it is, as far as it's fairly seamless.
From what I could find out, right, so essentially from start to about 12 minutes 50 seconds is apparently the one shot. Okay?
Yeah, it's in a very extended period of time. Yeah,
from what research I could find, about 8 minutes 50 of that is one continuous shot. Now you have to remember, this was shot in film, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So to do that steady cam with a film camera in 1998, which to us doesn't seem like that long ago, but like you say that to someone born in 2000 or up, and it's like, Jesus
Ancient
Christ,
history.
I didn't think that you had that technology back then. Like,
well, I think it's a legit. Now, I am not a world expert on this, but I believe, like at the time, film cameras could legit only hold like 10 or 12 minutes worth of footage. I think they maybe had special rigs that could do more than that, but just the sheer length of it, like it was physically impossible. Like you just couldn't record for that long.
So that's the technical side of the opening of the film. Now, I find watching this film, because I don't think we can discuss this film without discussing Nick Cage was on a run here in the late 90s. Face Off, Con Air.
I'd have to say certainly commercially, and I would say artistically as well. I really like spoiler alert, I don't like this film, but I like all those big action movies that he did at the time. The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. Face Off is actually funny enough, although I think we might cover that.
We won't go too much. Yeah.
But like he did Leaving Las Vegas during this time. And I will say, this film contains both Nick Cages. There's normal guy Nick Cage, and then there's woo!
And he's loving every minute.
Yeah, again, maybe I'm not. I would say I'm a bit of a Nick Cage fan, but maybe I'm not a real Nick Cage fan, because I find in this film when he's doing the crazy stuff, I kind of go, oh, leave it out, man. It seems maybe it's just a role.
See, but I think this is because we'll bring it up again about in the Devil's Advocate episode about when the really enjoyable scenes with Pacino are when he's just let go. Now I find in this, because in the opening sequence, obviously it's one big long continuous shot, so what it's doing is it's setting the scene, it's setting the tone. You're learning so much about the Nick Cage as a person, as Rick Santoro. He's clearly not a good guy. You can see that in the way he talks to his wife versus how he talks to Monique, his girlfriend. He loves his girlfriend. He doesn't seem to like his wife very much. But he's also we're being introduced very quickly and very shortly to just about every character we're going to see throughout.
Yeah,
I think for what it is, I have to be honest, I think it's really good world building.
I agree and disagree, I would say. I feel kind of two ways about it. I remember actually a review at the time in, I believe it was Total Film, that said, like, it's spectacular and it's impressive. But they said, I remember the line, because I didn't quite understand at the time, the dialogue is flat and first draftish. And I do feel that a bit. Like, it does a lot of stuff very well, but I do feel Like I've been more impressed by shorter, longer takes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do more things
because a lot of it is oh hey. A lot of it's just that type of stuff. But in saying that though, that is an issue that I have with the film. Is that a lot of the dialogue stuff does seem very okay. Just we has to say something. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think in terms of they try to make this more stylish. It looks more stylish than the dialogue allows it to be. If that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they put all the effort into one thing as opposed to
exactly.
Like they could have had the same sequence of events, but just kind of done it a bit better. Like
or they could have just okay, we're gonna do it in one shot, but let's.
Yeah, like, I don't have it. There's a few things later on, especially the final shot of the film, that I'm like, it's actually hurt by the fact it's filmed in one take. This doesn't have that problem, but I do find.
See, I think they're trying to do a lot. And I do appreciate, because I mean, especially at the time, because you do it now, like everything's done in one take now. Like the amount of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's become kind of a trend now.
Exactly.
And,
like it's like drone footage, or it's like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, we can do a big long take here.
Yeah, and actually I've just a lot of action movies do it nowadays, and I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah, because you have this real, like, I'm thinking of that film with Chris Hemsworth, Extraction.
Extraction, yeah.
Like, there's a whole thing where he's going down a hall and the camera's on his shoulder, and then he's out into this big vista, and it's, and then it closes in again, and it's like, this is a bleeding shoot 'em up. Like, I don't need.
Yeah. Oh, I have a pure snobbery moment coming up, but that stuff drives me nuts because it's fake one takes, and there's a. For action aficionados, the John Woo film Hard Boiled now has a cut in the middle, but they did it for real with squibs and guns, fire and blanks, and it's like a 3 minute, I think it's a 1.5 minute shot and a 1.5 minute shot stitched together, but it's legit long takes in an action scene, and it's legit perfectly choreographed long take action scenes. So when they do it nowadays, and I'm like, oh yeah, look at this, and I'm like, yeah, it goes on for a long time.
To go a bit kind of off topic, because obviously this is a movie podcast, not a TV podcast, but I think the best personally to ever do a one take, and it's actually one take. Now there's Texas switches with the actors.
Oh yeah.
Daredevil season 2 and season 3.
Is that the prison fight, is it?
So there's one in season 2 where he's in a hallway and it's coming up and down, but there is cuts in it, right? But it is extremely long takes. Now the one that was 13 minutes long, there's not one cut. Now, as I said, there is fake outs. A Texas switch is a fake out. It's where someone hides. It's like if you've ever seen someone fall in a film and then they get back up. It's the stuntman falls, the fella gets up from behind the couch.
Well, that stuff's fine. Like that's magic tricks.
All the stuff in that, it's 13.5 minutes, and there's multiple. He's fighting multiple people. There's inmates running up and down the hallway. It's like chaotic, and it is fucking.
Jeez, I want to say for some reason I never saw that, even though I liked the first 2 seasons.
I did a big presentation on it in college, man. I loved it.
Okay,
loved it.
I must have to go back.
And I felt so bad because for the purpose of the presentation, it had to be 30 minutes, so I couldn't just play the 13 minutes. So I had to cut it myself, and I felt like I was robbing
ruining the effect nearly. Yeah,
but aside that,
So to bring it back to this, like. I was reading reviews, and like I think it was Roger Ebert even said, "Oh, you know, it evokes like it was Goodfellas, and there was Boogie Nights, which was out at the time. Boogie Nights starts off with a legit
amazing.
The one in Boogie Nights I think is way better. I just love the flow of it and the way it got. Now this is following one character, so it's a little less dynamic than that. I know it sounds stupid because it's so dynamic, but like it's just dealing with one guy and following him, which is not to knock it. Now it's a huge achievement. I just did feel like it's a little lacking for what they
intended.
Yeah, for what the hype about it was at the time. So just to give everyone, again, anyone who's kind of forgotten like what actually happened, he's a corrupt cop at this fight, and he's kind of traveling through the auditorium. He sees the guy who's the heavyweight champ who's going to fight the fight, and that's one of the moments where it's like, go Tyler, and I am just like, ugh, it just doesn't work for me. He now
one thing, sorry to interrupt, but one thing that I think is very important, because I'll have something to say about it towards the end. This is all happening during a tropical storm.
Yes,
it is raining throughout, and it is made a point that you know that it is, because a lot of it takes place inside. After the first kind of, you hear some thunder claps.
Yeah, the attractive newswoman is outside.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to that actress.
Yeah, well, I should remember if I'm the one who's in love with her. But you see it there, but it is made a big thing of.
And I'll tell you why I think that's the case as we continue. But so obviously that's happening, and we're going through the auditorium. We're meeting all these characters. We're meeting the bookie. We're meeting the boxer. We're meeting like essentially everybody we're going to meet.
Yeah, there's a drug dealer who he gets some money off of to pay off the bookie. Yeah.
Who is Michael Rispoli?
Yeah,
who is
alumnus,
that wanker who sacrifices himself at the end of Volcano?
The Volcano. Yeah.
How he ends up in that building? Well, that's a different podcast. Go back and listen to it.
Go back. That was one of our better ones, folks.
But I think genuinely, because I know the craft of it is good. I totally agree with you with the dialogue. It's very one-notey. It's very... Not a lot of effort went in.
It does just feel like that'll do. Like I like the way Cage plays that. Like no, don't put mommy on the phone. But like I just feel like he wasn't well served by the dialogue.
I think the phone calls are actually, in terms of learning about Rick Santoro, I think that says so much about him, and I think they're the best played in terms of dialogue, because a lot of the stuff when he's actually meeting people on the walk. It's all very like it's all sticky fucking just it's like when you bump into someone in the local that you don't really want to talk to and you just bypass them.
It's
like,
very surface level kind of.
Exactly. But when he's actually, because he's speaking to Monique and he's like, who was his girlfriend, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm coming over, don't worry. And there's just, you just get snippets of this conversation, but you know what's going on. Like, and then his wife rings him and he's not speaking very well to her, so you can tell that already. This fella's not a good guy.
Yeah, like it's a bit meat and potatoes, but like there's stuff there. I think an issue I have with the film overall is at a certain point they just kind of drop that whole thing. Like we'll get to that.
That's a definite. Yeah.
So then we're introduced to former perennial character actor Gary Sinise.
Yes.
Who I miss in movies, and I miss people like him in movies. Now, he was very big at the time.
Yeah, he was in fucking like.
Yeah, the big one was Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, and then he was in Ransom. The Mel Gibson kidnap drama thing.
See, Gary Sinise is one of these actors, right? I can remember seeing him in everything for a while, but I can't really remember all of them. Like, you remember the big ones?
I remember the big three. This one actually was fairly... the big two for me are Ransom, because I watched that a million times, but Forrest Gump is... There's actually a funny story about... when I was watching this, I was like, this is kind of a strange role for him to take, because I heard him on the Jocko Willing podcast, and he has this huge respect for the US military. Yes. And here he's playing this, spoiler alert, very corrupt kind of military guy.
Yeah.
But there was a funny story of he used to apparently call up like the entertainment division of the army or the Marines or whatever all the time, and he'd go, hello, I'm Gary Sinise, I'd just like you to know that I'm willing and available to do stuff. And he called like 5 or 6 times, and then apparently at the end of one of them he goes, oh, and by the way, I played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, and they called him back like 5 minutes later because they didn't know who the fuck he was. That apparently Lieutenant Dan, which was slightly strange but kind of understandable, is a huge character for military people, because I suppose
because he's quite serious in a not so serious
world.
He's never,
he's a very disillusioned character, but he's never disillusioned with the military, and I think that's kind of what
he has a job and he knows it.
He comes from a military tradition, and he was brilliant in that. Like, he's the kind of guy. I mean, he ended up on whichever CSI it was, and I looked him up, and he did fuck all after that. Look, fair play to him. He's probably a millionaire 10 times over, but I think he probably does a lot of theater work. Him and John Malkovich apparently were BFFs. They may still be. I don't know. But he's the kind of guy that I miss, even though, we'll come to this later, he may be ever so slightly miscast here, but I'll get into that
possibly,
maybe.
Yeah. But, so obviously we're still technically in the one shot from the opening of the film, so we're introduced to Commander Dunn.
Yeah. Who's Rick's kind of best
childhood
friend.
best friend, and there's kind of a bit of you can tell that, because the rapport, it's like, well, at least... how's your wife? And all this, well, she's not as good as my girlfriend, that type of stuff.
Yeah, they know each other well.
Yeah, because they have that type of rapport. Now, this is where it kind of, to the untrained, well, once you've seen it, you get it. But there's a lot of stuff here, which I do think is actually quite clever. It's for someone who's watching it the first time, because the camera's just moving to what appears to be these random characters.
Yeah, I will say the timing and the design of a lot of these shots is genuinely impressive.
And there is a moment here where he's talking about, get out of Atlantic City, why don't you come down and we get you signed up for the military and all. That's what Commander Dunn is saying to Rick Santoro, Cage's character. And there's a part where he goes, it's my sewer, I'm the king, baby. And he stands up and then the whole crowd chat. And I'm telling you now, I fully believe this. I'd say that they either did that very first time where everything just worked in time, because when you see Nick Cage go, I'm the king, and he's like, and he sits back down with the joyous, he's like, we got it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's another moment that does make me go like, oh, Jesus.
Well, no, see, it didn't, because that's not Nick Cage playing Nick Cage.
No,
I think that's Nick Cage going, oh my God, we got it.
His reaction, I can see that, but when he stands up and goes, I am the king, that does make me, oh God. But
he's loving it. It has to be mentioned here that Nick Cage is loving playing this character throughout the whole walk.
He certainly enjoyed that. And it's funny, actually, there's an interview with him on YouTube, and like, he must just hate doing interviews, because the guy's like, so you've all these extras, what was that like? Oh, I just wanted to make sure that they felt appreciated. It was great of them to come out. Like, he gave the guy absolutely no energy, and it was actually kind of funny how
he is a bit like that in interviews. I don't know if he hates it though, but see, the thing is, and I don't want to disrespect him, because I am a big Nick Cage fan, I am. But he really sees himself as a thespian. He really does.
I think he does. Well, did you ever see that show Wogan, the Terry Wogan show? Yeah. There's a famous, I think it kind of makes the viral rounds every night. Nick Cage, I think it was like for a while the heart, and he came out and did like a somersault and was doing high kicks and throwing glitter. He's a fucking madman. Like, there is like a touch of the madman to him, which But see, the thing is,
there's a touch of the madman to every actor. Anybody.
Yeah, big
all
time.
Of them. The thing is about Nick Cage is he doesn't bottle it up. Like, when you see Leo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, the cool guys, like, do you know what I mean? Inside, they are fucking loopy. I'm telling you now. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's...
and he just lets it out, which is why I just have so much respect
like
for
him
the man.
as a person, I tend to like, although I don't tend to watch a lot of interviews and stuff, but like, I got the roles he's taken down through the years, I've a lot of respect for him. I do remember, I also, when I was doing my research, Brian De Palma and Gary Sinise, Nick Cage was very, very busy at this time as well. He was probably doing 10 junkets, so maybe that's why his energy was low. They were on that show, the Charlie Rose show, and Gary Sinise was saying, like, he said, how was it acting during that big long take? And he goes, well, just the speed of what we had to speak at. Like, I would do it and Brian would be like, no, faster. I did watch it again after watching that, and I was like, yeah, they are speaking like really, just on a technical level, kind of similar. It reminded me of what David Fincher did with The Social Network. Like, apparently he would be like, no, it's got to be 2 minutes here at 4 minutes.
Like, I mean, obviously Fincher is famous for it, especially when everything went digital. He'll have 80 takes in one scene. And the actor could be perfect, but he doesn't like the extra in the background.
Jesus, can you fucking imagine? Like, the timing of a lot of the stuff. Some of my problems sometimes with De Palma's extended camera shots is I feel the pause for the moments, or it feels like you're waiting for something. The timing in that shot is very good. Like, there's no dead air in it. Like, there's always something when it pans to something that happens exactly right, and there is no... Because nowadays they can even like, oh, that came in a fraction of a second too late. No, the computer will take care of that. They hide cuts, but they don't do it to help the timing. Like, the timing was real. And hats off to them for that. Like, 100%. That was quite good.
So it should be mentioned here, because it's probably the main plot point, is Gary Sinise's character, Commander Dunn, is there on security detail for the...
Secretary of Defense or something.
I was about to say the Department of Foreign Affairs there. I was like,
who knows?
I couldn't remember. Yeah, but so the Secretary of Defense.
It's something like that, if it's not that.
It's the American title. Let us know in the comments. But anyway, he's a big high-profile politician, and he's also there with the billionaire guy who's trying to revamp
the dad from Home Alone is the actor.
Yeah, John Hurd. And so that's there. So what happens is they sit down. He's explaining to, and one thing that needs to be mentioned here is because this will come up later, he makes a point to show Rick Santoro the tracker on his security guy.
Yes.
Now just remember that, because we're coming back to it.
That'll come back. Yeah, that was actually fairly well done. Like, he just kind of like, he's showing off.
Because he's showing off in front of his buddy. Look at what I'm doing. Like, and so then that's where we're introduced to the hot redhead.
Yes.
And this is where the kind of initial kind of chaos of the opening 15 minutes is kind of coming to a close.
Yeah, there's a bit of jankiness now. So Gary Sinise's character, Commander Dunn, sees her and he kind of exits scene right or whatever. Then the wonderfully named Carla Gugino sits down, and I did find some of Cage's lines like...
It's a bit like...
Yeah, it's like, you can sit here. I appreciate the... Oh, you can sit here. I'm like, that's very... Come on, guys, do a rewrite. You're putting all this fucking energy into having all these extras. Do that line again. Like, And it is, for what her character is supposed to be, like her disguise is completely fucking ridiculous. Like she's a platinum blonde wig and like a form-fitting like white fucking silk blouse
like
on.
It's not exactly like she's not going to fly under the radar. Like,
yeah, well, I do kind of now. It's worth mentioning. Like Brian De Palma is not this. He is in some circles, but he is not like this universally beloved director. Like he's been very controversial throughout his whole career and his apparent treatment of women. And you do kind of go, I wouldn't be offended by it, but I do kind of go, is this how you see like the innocent woman? Because her role in it is she's the innocent who's doing the right thing. And I'm like, is that how you think these women dress? Like
she have to wear glasses. Does she really have to? But to be fair, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, she's all in white. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but angelic. She looks like she walked out of a fucking Playboy mansion with that get up. Like Jesus Christ.
So obviously here's where...
No, I won't finish that thought. Go on, keep going.
So obviously this is where the kind of...
Well, actually, I will give it credit now. The moment it cuts out of that long take and the confusion that follows is very, very good, I think.
100% because... And it works really well because you're obviously in a big auditorium. Mm-hmm. So... The shot, you don't even see the shot. You just see the blood on Cage's lapel or whatever, and then you see
there's a genuine sense of like
but you know what I love here? It's because the people in the immediate vicinity, but then you see everybody else is loving the fight. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So it's that's really well done because if someone has a silencer on in an auditorium that loud, nobody's gonna know what's happening until they see they won't know someone's been shot. Mm-hmm. But when the chaos around that person, that's when
they only start when Gary Sinise fires his gun, which isn't silent. So the assassin has a silencer on it. Yeah, I will say as well. Just I saw there's a documentary called De Palma, which is just him talking about his movies, and he did make special reference. You never actually see the fight during that opening long take. You know there is a fight, but you just see Cage's reaction. Yeah. And then, so there's a group of people online who absolutely adore this film. And their big thing is they don't talk about the characters. They don't talk about the story. They don't talk about the acting. They say it's all about looking and seeing things from another perspective. And fair play to those people. I am not as impressed by it as they are. But I do like some of the effects in the opening scene. The one thing I will say is the guy who goes, "Here comes the pain, baby," who's like revealed later on. I thought a shot of him doing nothing would have been interesting, but they have him kind of touch his ear and it's kind of obvious he's up to something. I thought that was a little over the top. But so like I would say simultaneously, I think the opening shot is very effective, but it's also like, it couldn't have been. I know what you mean. I think it should have been a bit better, honestly.
Yeah, because I totally agree with you because I'm a big fan of the opening. I'm also a big critic of the opening. I'm kind of in that middle kind of...
I feel the same way.
Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, it's not bad, but it could have been so much better.
Yeah, like it's kind of outsized, like it's outsizedly praised, I would say, for what's... like in terms of a physical production with that many extras, fair play to you. But like, come on guys, did you not notice the script needed a bit of work?
We probably bring this up every podcast, but there was really... thousands of people in that crowd. Doesn't it? You won't get that today.
Yeah, it wouldn't be near as... No. They could do it in legit one take today, but they do CGI for the crowd or something
and then that just takes it away. Like.
Yeah. So we go...
It would have been... But one thing I will point out, it would have been interesting to be sat in that crowd and being like...
I know, yeah.
Because you'd be able to hear Nick Cage talking and everything. You know what I mean?
He made sure to let them know they were appreciated according to his interview.
Because now that I think of it, because when he jumps up and says "King," people are jumping up, but they're not saying that behind them. Like, do you know what? No, do you know what? It's actually 5 out of 5.
Because you can actually tell like at times, because I think it's mostly the actual sound recording. Because I listened to it on headphones, and there's 1 or 2 moments only where it's dubbed, and they for whatever something must have happened. But I think it seemed to be mostly on set, the recording of the dialogue. It's impressive. Like, it's very well done. Now, we go from the assassination into a scene where Sinise's character is kind of freaking out because he's like, this guy, and again, if you want to...
He took the shot where I was sitting. Like.
Yeah, if you want to map this onto real life, this conspiracy thing would last about... In the internet era, like, it'd last about 5 seconds, but it's a film of its time. I like this scene where Sinise is basically like, "Oh, woe is me, I fucked up, my career is over." And Cage's character, but also his characteristics are very to the fore here. He's like get your fucking head straight, man.
Yeah.
This naive bullshit isn't going to fly. We'll make this work.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Which needs to be pointed out because, I mean, we've talked about kind of lazy writing and all, but there is an interesting thing that happens here where he's convincing Sinise, no, we do this. And we just have to hold hang fire until
it's good
the
stuff.
FBI show up.
It's good writing because...
But his Cage being real cagey is when he's talking to the cop that comes up and is trying to take over.
That's actually good. That's quite convincing, actually. And it's big, kind of Nick Cage. And he is putting on a show as the character because he's like, I just need to bowl this guy over or we're fucked. But the scene where he convinces Sinise to go along with it is both the corruption of the character, but also the loyalty of the character. He's like, man, I'm not going to let you fuck up your life.
Yeah.
And it's just two actors, and it's just close-ups on them. It's just good actors being good actors. There's a similar scene later on that's also very successful, I think. But that whole bit, it's plausible.
He kind of turns it on its head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a bit where Nick Cage is talking. These other cops come in and say, we're going to take this. And Cage, it's kind of the scene. He's like, no, you're not. And he goes, I was here when he was shot. I'm a material witness. This is mine in about 6 ways. And I was like, wouldn't being a witness
make you
disqualify?
Yeah.
but like they play it, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Look, it has to happen anyway.
So obviously, we move on then to Cage. He says, "I'm going to check. Oh, I know everybody in this town. I'm going up to check that CCTV."
Yeah, I don't think it's quite happening yet, but the actor Kevin Dunn is playing kind of a TV reporter guy or something.
The pay-per-view guy. And he's asking to be the guy.
Yeah, and he doesn't really come into it much, but I did just want to bring something up because he's the guy who says to, can you find me a new shirt? And I do remember I read an interview with Nick Cage, and I think it was Total Film or Empire, and they were quite critical of the film, actually. And I remember they said, like, what was the deal with, you start off with that Hawaiian kind of shirt and then you swap it out. And I think they even said, like, it's not as interesting. He goes, well, I thought that was kind of a visual signal of the change in the character, in that he starts off this wild man, but then he becomes a little more somber.
But it's not only that, because it's mentioned already that he wants to be on TV. And he makes sure that he changes the shirt so he doesn't look like a pleb on TV.
He does mention that, yeah.
I don't know if that's much of a character.
Yeah, he does. My problem with the character then after this is they don't really buy into the corruption bit. It just kind of goes away.
He turns into hard-boiled detective.
Yeah, he just I didn't notice, like, they should have made a bigger thing of it in the film where I didn't really ever notice a moment where he kind of goes like, wait a minute, maybe I should actually start doing my job here. It's supposed to be, I think, in the CCTV scene or the footage scene where he notices the punch didn't connect. Yeah. But you don't really feel it like
But in that moment, so obviously he goes up to watch the CCTV and it's to see what happened. But he's watching videos of the fight, so I thought that was his corrupt. He's worried about his $3,000. He's not worried about the fella who's just been shot. Like,
that's a nice take on it, actually. Yeah,
because that's why he's watching the fight and he's not watching. Yeah,
I think he checked it story wise because he noticed the champ was faking it, because he did see the champ kind of lit. So the champ, the idea was the champ was knocked out, and at that moment, the secretary guy was assassinated, and he kind of had his suspicions about it. But
that just goes to say, so his first thing was to make sure that it was a phantom punch and he wasn't
thinking about
a morally just person wouldn't care at that stage. Like,
I just never got a feeling of, I just never sensed like a moment of change in the character. And, you know, maybe someone involved might say, oh no, it was meant to be gradual, things don't happen like that. But I'm like, well, look, you didn't sell it to me, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't find it very convincing, because I think De Palma's energies were elsewhere. I think he was like, that's why I said I wasn't just fucking around with like my introduction.
He was busy with the fucking DP rather than the...
When I said it's a series of shots tied together, that's essentially how I kind of see the film, which is not to say that's unentertaining, but I was like,
once we figured out that it was a phantom punch.
Yeah, I will say I remember that was made a big deal of in the trailer. It's like, it was a phantom punch. And it is kind of a nice sense of, this mystery is starting to unravel. But it doesn't land in the film.
No. Because he goes and confronts Tyler.
Who gives up the fucking ghost
very quickly. Like there's a very funny line, and I just don't think it's what an African man, like, think of Mike Tyson. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think he'd when he's trying to cover his arse, he's going to turn around. He was a fantastic fighter. He fought very furiously. Like, that's a bit of a...
I think they might have been going for an unconvincing act, but it just comes off as, man, that's a bad line. Like, what the fuck? Like,
because even the way he delivers it, you can tell that the actor knows that that's not what someone would say. Like,
yeah, it's a very. I noticed that too. It's a very awkward. Now, I will
fought
say,
very furiously.
I have to say that actor, and I can't remember his fucking name. He was in a bunch of movies in the 90s. There's a moment in it where he really, in the whole film, where he earns his paycheck. But do you watch more boxing than me? I was like, this guy's too I know there's kind of a thing, like he's a bit over the hill, but he does look out of shape and he does look too old.
You have to remember, like, now everybody from an actor to a footballer to they're cut from granite. But
True, yeah.
the 90s, it wasn't like that. Like,
yeah, I can't remember how I felt about it at the time, but I remember he was 47, the actor at the time, and I'm not being funny when I say I do not know anything about boxing. That sounds a bit old to me, but
if you look at Tony Bellew, it'd be a more recent boxer. Like, he literally looks like he's a strong man, but his muscle is in like an inch of fat. Like,
yeah, it's why I'm asking as opposed to actually criticizing it, because I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as I said, like, you look at these UFC fighters and all now, they're cut, they're chiseled, but it wasn't like that back
boxing.
in the day.
I still don't know. Like, I
look
just
at Tyson Fury.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
No,
I could be talking out me whole night. He did just always seem. I think he always seemed a little old to me, but he gives up. Yeah, they tried. There's a thing in it of they went to the same high school together, but they don't kind of do anything with it. And he seems incredibly remorseful. And then, spoiler alert, he does a heel turn later on, which I found kind of odd. This is the boxer character, but he goes into another very well choreographed flashback.
Yes, which is now, this is where, because obviously I have appreciation for the opening winner. Now this one, it switches to this kind of POV type thing, and I just think, because now we are trying to do something different.
Yeah.
So the first one was this big, long, we're introducing loads of characters, we're following Nick Cage, we're not from his point of view. And the subsequent oneers, or apartment oneers, they all involve POV, and they're trying to do something different there.
I remember even at the time, funny enough, the first time I ever saw this film was we were staying in a hotel and they had some service where you could pay, and downstairs in the fucking reception they'd play a video presumably of the movie and you could watch it up in your room. And I remember my mom going, would you do this for me? And I was like, you can't pause this. And I remember she got really fucking pissed off at me. But I remember that was the first time that I watched it. And I remember being like, what the fuck is with this moment? Because it's his point of view, but then he looks in a mirror and then it becomes not his point of view.
Yeah. But not before that. There's this big, long take where he's looking through the door.
He's looking, and it's like the door is fucking long. So open. Yeah,
but it's too long. Like.
Yeah. No, there is some good stuff. I really like how Rispoli plays it, where the guy's like, "Tell the champ what you said," and Rispoli's like, "Oh, love you, champ," and I'm like, "Okay, that seems very real." But the lawyer character is like, he even says, "I didn't go to law school for this." I'm like, guys, come on, X.
But this is
another line.
I think I have to be honest. Even watching it second and third and fourth viewing over the last couple of days. I could imagine that someone watching this doesn't know that that's him telling a story at the bar with Nick Cage, because I remember rewatching it because I haven't seen it in a few years, and then I went, yeah, because you see Nick Cage outside the door, yo champ, and I was like, now I get it.
Yeah, you see, all that stuff is stuff
because there's no voiceover. It just switches to that point of view thing.
Yeah, I remember actually, you're right. I remember actually being kind of confused, but I think I eventually copped on. But
I copped on when I saw Nick Cage. I was like, it's from a different point of view.
Yeah, because they don't, like, to be fair, I'll give it points, like it doesn't kind of spell things out, but that's the kind of shit that people who love this film really love. And I just kind of go, but sure, this is, and I take the point, because a lot of people who feel like cinema's getting stale is, it's the same thing as a book. Why can't it be like music where it's a rhythm and flow, and why can't it just be visuals? And it is a purely visual thing, like you're just seeing things from different points of view, but I just find that less interesting than good characters or like tying it together, because I'm like, so what, we're seeing Nick Cage from a different angle. There's something interesting about that, but it's not great. I don't find it great cinema.
Yeah.
As wanky as that sounds like.
During the kind of flashback, the plot thickens, as some might say. Mm-hmm. So we understand then why the fight was thrown. Why?
Yeah, he reveals that there's more. And again, like, legit. Sorry, we should have maybe mentioned the film takes place in nearly real time at a certain point, which does affect the credibility of it. I kind of give it a pass, but it's why the champ just kind of immediately goes, oh yeah, here, I'll tell you everything. Nick Cage to say, oh, I won't say anything. Like, that's a bit of a fucking reach, innit? Like, he's just going to believe him. But okay, we'll kind of gloss over that. But yes, it just all happens very quick, and I find it kind of unconvincing. And yeah, that scene with the scene with the champ and the long like.
Now it should be pointed out as well here is this is Nick Cage loving playing Rick Santoro. There's a lot of
I do remember I liked the bit where he goes, would you sign my goddamn kid's autograph? I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Because that's the first thing he comes in and says, your kid wants an autograph.
Yeah, at the start of the scene even, there's something that doesn't quite gel with me, and it is kind of, and I love big wide panoramic shots. It's very wide when it comes in, you see everyone in the room, but I'm still like, I feel this should be a little tighter on them. I just feel sometimes a little bit of editing here wouldn't have killed you, Brian. You know, like but I it's hard to say because I kept thinking, like, if I were watching this in a cinema, would I just be blown away by the visuals? So we get to now. I said about the actor, he did strike me as a little bit old, the guy playing the boxer, but there's a bit then so. It kind of jumps into this is what I mean, like he's quite sympathetic actually until they kind of just do nothing with him and he just turns into a bad guy towards the end. But during the fight, I do like the bit during the fight where the other guy is such a shitty boxer, he nearly fucks up the whole plan. Yeah. The bit where he knocks the guy down and the look on his face. I think that's a great actor. He is the
guy playing the boxer.
Oh, the other guy, because it's obviously the Mexican guy.
It's obviously Tyler's POV.
Yeah.
And he's doing that. He's dancing and he's...
I've never seen him before since that I remember anyway, but he's very good. But the look on Tyler's face when he's thinking, and he's like, oh my God, I'm fucked. And it's played like quite tragically almost. The music is very like, ooh. And he just looks defeated and sad and like, oh Jesus. So whatever my issues with him, maybe looking a bit X, Y, or Z, he earns his paycheck in that moment. He's brilliant. Like, and it's just kind of stuff that pops up in kind of any film, like just a little glorious moment of like, because I'd imagine the guy writing is just like, I will have to make it dramatic, and he thinks he's knocked the guy out and he looks sad or whatever. It maybe didn't occur to anyone, and then you just show up and you have a good actor and it's like, oh man, this is a lot better than we kind of thought it was, and they just let it play. That's the kind of thing that the film does occasionally very well, I think. Now,
after the confrontation with Tyler and we see the story from his perspective, we learn of the deeper conspiracy potentially afoot.
Yeah.
And it cuts to a scene of Carla Gugino kind of covered in blood trying to...
Yeah, she's trying to escape. Yeah.
Now, this is something that I need to point out because obviously her glasses are broken, the melee.
And she's very nearsighted.
When I tell you, Carla Gugino might be the best performance of anybody who's lost their glasses ever.
Like Velma in the...
No, because she not once does she... I'll take my glasses off to show you. Not once does she this, but you can tell just she's not doing much. I don't know what it is she's doing, but you can see that she can't see. Like,
okay,
do you know what I mean? And I don't know if you noticed that or picked up on it, but I'm telling you, it's fucking phenomenal.
There's something there that I didn't pick up on because I was going to talk about her. I think she's terrible in this. I really think she's awful.
She's not great. She hasn't. Yeah. She's not given. She's to be the, as we spoke about previously, the innocent.
It's maybe not fair. I remember actually having, and when I was watching it back, she isn't that bad actually. Maybe I shouldn't have said terrible. I don't think she's very good, and it could be just a role. But I remember having like bad vibes about her for years afterwards because I thought she was so bad in this, which is maybe slightly unfair. I watched Sin City recently. She's a role now. She's a perfectly good actress, like but I remember in this, like being like, "Oh, come on!" She didn't get great reviews at the time.
I know, and I think because I mean, I would be a fan of Carla's, and I don't think she's good in this whatsoever. Believe me, I'm not saying that she is, but I'm just saying
a poor role. Yeah,
that how she plays not being able to see properly without making it, because we've seen it before, and people are like, and you know what I mean? They're way overdoing it, like.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just as a soft focus or something, you can tell. Like
I didn't notice it now, so I'll give.
That's because you just don't like it.
Give her points for that. Yeah, a woman hater I am. There is another. I found this scene interesting. And again, watching this through modern eyes, where people are going back to the fucking Zapruder tape and zooming in on pixels and all this.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Cage kind of tells Sinise, "Oh man, something's going on here." And there is actually a scene where Sinise is explaining to the TV reporter, like, so the alleged shooter, someone did die, like the assassin. He's a Palestinian living in the USA. Thank goodness.
Very culturally appropriate.
Thank goodness
for today.
times have changed so much.
Yeah.
And the story is he was, angry at the defense secretary for selling arms to the Israelis or something like that.
He wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah, there's God knows he wouldn't be alone these days. There's a scene thereafter where Cage kind of tells him this, and Sinise is just kind of like, I don't know, a gambling addict with blah blah. He just kind of doesn't take it very seriously, like that's a bit of an odd kind of a reaction. But having said that, he wasn't in the room with him. I guess you kind of let it carry.
Now, during this conversation, it's Nick Cage trying to figure out. I don't know if it's before or after we see from Kevin Dunn's perspective.
It's during this scene that happens, because I remember at the time,
because that's where he comes up with his big.
He tells him like, this is what happened. That I followed the redhead one, and she was kind of flirting with me.
Now, I have to say here, right? I think this is genius direction.
Go on.
Obviously, it's the same thing that we've seen with Tyler. It's the POV. It's that type of shit, right? I'm not talking about that part of it. But if you listen to Sinise's voiceover, oh, not his voiceover, sorry, his dialogue with the redhead, it is a stylized version of how he actually speaks. It's like she goes, "You're not allowed to hassle me like that." Yeah, hey, it reminds me of like a hard-boiled detective film noir type thing. I'm paid to hassle people, doll.
Do you know what?
Do you know what I mean?
It hadn't quite occurred to me, but the writing in that scene is quite good.
But the thing is, it could have been an acting choice, but it's more likely a directed note. You're telling this story, you're making it up. So obviously you're going to paint yourself on a bit of a cool, suave type of thing.
Very good point, yeah.
Because even the way, the language he's using and stuff, like, and I keep going back to I'm paid to hassle people, because I can just see him standing there sucking a cigarette like a Humphrey Bogart.
That's a very good point. The scene's gone up in my estimation.
I'm paid to hassle people, doll. Like, do you know what I mean?
I remember at the time what I like most about the scene is because it's completely from his point of view, and it ends with him taking out his gun from his point of view and shooting the guy, and the synchronization of the gunshots and the squibs is like perfect as far as I remember. And I remember at the time being very into that. I was like, that's what you want, bro. Like, speaking of sucking on your cigarette.
One thing as well, nice. This is probably more so, who would do this now? Set design or whatever, but the way the guy falls out in every consequential scene that we see him in, it is the exact. I know they pay people big bucks to do this, like, but it's just because even the way he falls. Because it's taken from, because you see him falling out of the thing from multiple different takes, and it's always the exact same. Whoever that actor is, I'd say he's probably more of a stuntman than an actor.
Possibly, yeah.
Because it's perfect.
Yeah, it's stuff like that the film does very well. Like, it ties, like, as I say, I find some of the older De Palma stuff, like Dressed to Kill, there's scenes where I'm like, come on, man, it doesn't, what's this? That's just kind of dead air. You're waiting for the effect for the light to glint on the knife or something. There's none of that here. Like, he was in some ways at the top of his game, and in other ways he was kind of dropping the ball, I think. But like there's a lot of impressive stuff in it.
Too busy with the fucking DP and not with
he was putting his attention in the wrong place. Yeah, I think now quite soon after this, I was about to say there's a scene where we find out he's the villain, but you find out he's the villain even sooner, because him and Nick Cage are kind of like, okay, let's split up. You do this, you do this. So Nick Cage walks off.
Sinise walks in one direction.
Yeah. And the camera pans back to Sinise, and he's still looking at Cage, and like immediately you're like, he's a villain. There's something up with this guy. Yeah.
And then if it wasn't obvious, he goes down and he meets our fiery hot redhead and the guy, and the drunk guy. Yeah. And this really, really bought it, because again, this is just first draft nonsense, right? Because obviously he's explained that he knows who the redhead is, or he knows she's a part of it, and he knows the drunk guy was a part of it.
Yeah, because Nick Cage is like, we need to find those guys.
Yeah, because this is conspiracy. Like, do you know what I mean? And so he goes down into some basement somewhere, and he meets them, and you can tell then that they're military people, because the way they talk, their language, which is cool. Like, it is.
That was okay. Yeah.
And then what happens is he has to. I'm sure you have a contingency boss, don't you? And he goes, yeah, but I don't like it. And then bang, he shoots her. And now your man, the second fella, the drunk guy, turns around, sees that he's aiming at him. He shoots him, right?
Yeah.
Well, what else are you going to do? But I'm not worried. That's not the issue I have. But he shoots him, right? And then he comes over. But I've been shot. I've been shot. I've been shot. And
Do you know what? I actually kind of like that he said that and that his brain isn't working properly.
Okay, so you're rewriting.
Maybe I'm overthinking it.
You're rewriting as an audience member. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
But it's fucking stupid.
Well, I was watching it again and I was like, but sure, could he not just tell them to stay in the one place? Isn't it the same thing as killing them? It is just to solidify this is a bad guy. But sure, we all got that, like, you know, like.
But see, the thing is, me and you might get that, and I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a wanker saying that, because I mean, a film aficionado, not me and you, a film aficionado will go, oh right, so like all it takes is a look, and then we're like, oh.
In defense of the film,
a wider cinematic audience may not know just because he's looking at.
Like I wouldn't have noticed, but I think. In the defense of the film, I think they make a thing of they pour them into concrete or something like that. So they are more hidden than they would be if just stay down here or like stay in a broom closet or something like that. But it is a bit of a stretch. Like, I mean, like, come on.
I hate the way he's like, I've been shot. Like, yeah, and I'm going to shoot you in the face now. Like, do you know what I mean?
I actually, funny enough now, I'll maybe talk a little bit about it. Sinise is fairly effective in scenes like that. He has much better scenes later on. I did find myself going when I was watching it. This strikes me as shouldn't he be Nick Cage's like kind of strapping, handsome kind of guy, like the friend, you know, like the guy who was everyone thought he would have big things going for him all of his life and be more of a physical threat, frankly. Sinise is a great actor. Like I really say, like it was nice to see him.
You don't look at him and go, oh, he's going to kick the head off me.
Yeah, or he doesn't look like the glory boy, which is kind of what he's supposed to be. Like, I mean, look, not knocking you, Gary, you're a fantastically good looking 70-year-old now, I would say. But I don't know who I would. Jesus, who would be the guy you'd pick? I can't even think of someone off the top of my head, but I would have just thought like from the character it'd be someone like a little more.
You have to remember though,
upstanding.
Trying to think back to the late 90s, you can't pick someone who's going to challenge Nick Cage for top billing.
True, yeah.
And there's not a lot of them out there. Think about it. Because I mean, you have your Bruce Willis's and you have your things in the late 90s. Like you're not gonna have Nick Cage and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Like.
Sinise was kind of at the right level of fame at the time. I can't think of anyone off it. Like Jesus Christ.
Now, just from a pure. I personally think the film blows its load too early here. They had an opportunity to make this a real, not a whodunit, but because we learned too early that he's the bad guy.
It's actually before the halfway point.
Yeah, it's about 43 minutes in.
Yeah, I thought of something else. A modern day guy who wasn't even alive probably at the time, like someone like a Chris Hemsworth. Someone like that.
I'm sure he was alive in 98.
Yeah, he was probably 3 years older. No, geez, actually, he'd be like 10. I think he's around the same age as me. Someone like that, like the handsome golden boy, which is not Gary Sinise, as you know, Gary, I love you, baby. But just I would have thought someone like that. But he does earn his paycheck in a certain few scenes, Gary Sinise. Sorry, Keith, what were we talking about?
You got lost.
I got lost thinking about Chris Hemsworth in his blonde
But yeah,
box.
so what I was saying is we learned too early. Like it's just and not like nothing, because obviously nothing. I suppose we can jump to it and then work our way back. But when Nick Cage finds out, it's so much more. It's ruined because that's a real like because Nick Cage plays it well in The Stairwell. Yeah, where he's like, oh my, not my mate.
It loses its impact. Yeah,
and so like it's just
that was very deliberate. Like De Palma, I can't remember the quote exactly, but he said, "Oh, that's why I told you early because it's not about who done it. It's about corruption and the betrayal of a friend." Like he said something like, "Those procedurals are boring as hell," and I'm like, "All right, well." Okay. Like, I don't know quite what to make of that. I just kind of fundamentally disagree with you. You know?
So what happens now is Nick Cage goes to the casino floor security hut to try and find the redhead.
I should have written down this guy's name, but he's the guy from Goodfellas who sets up the Lufthansa heist. The guy who does the security footage in this. He's the guy in Goodfellas who sets up. I think it's the Lufthansa heist.
I don't recognize him from Goodfellas. I do recognize him from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, he's the guy who like works in. I think pretty sure it's the Lufthansa in the airport, and he's like, we got $5 million cash coming in. He just has a really great voice, and he's a perfect guy to do this. And I believe,
he's really good, isn't he?
Yeah, the way he delivers like quite boring dialogue in a really good way.
Like if it was a poorer actor delivering the dialogue he is, because Nick Cage goes in with a goal. I need to find the fiery redhead. I need to find this drunk guy. Where are they? But he's going, look, this fella's going to rob your woman's pennies.
Yeah,
look. It's just like, I'm into it.
He just seems like a real guy.
Yeah. It's really good. Like,
yeah, I seen him in other stuff, but I really remembered him from good, and just the way he delivered, like he has that kind of maybe a New York accent. I'm not an aficionado. He just has an accent though, and he plays it. You know,
and
very good.
Nick Cage is a very funny line. He goes, because he looks at Nick Cage and goes, do you want me to continue looking for the person you're looking for? And he goes, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who else he is? He's the assassin guy in Dumb and Dumber that they give the rat poison to. Yeah. That was, you stupid son of a bitch. Yeah. Like this, that finally that was good. And then
so this is where Nicolas Cage and Carla Gugino's paths.
I will say now,
converge.
I think the worst character in the movie shows up here, which is the fat guy that she picks up in the bar, and like I think it's a combination. I don't want to knock the actor too much because it is a poor role, but I find he does not do a great amount of what he's given.
No, but
very
it's stupid
cliched
as well, because like obviously what happens is she needs to she wants to hide in the room. You know what I mean? So she wants to get away from the fraud, right? So long story short, and they think she's a prostitute, but Nick Cage realizes that she's the one I'm looking for. Really,
there's a moment in it that really annoys me where she like sees a hooker picking up some John in the bar, and like I'm like, she couldn't have fucking thought of what to do by herself. Like she's an intelligent woman here. Like, but you know why it's in there, because you can't hear her thinking.
We actually missed a big plot point here. Gary Sinise explaining to Nick Cage about the missile.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's amazing what you forget when you're knee deep in a conversation. Like.
So there was a missile like it's some new system set up. It pays off. I'll give it credit later on. I think it pays off fairly effectively.
Yeah. So we just need to insert that.
Yeah, just
so we know why you were still talking.
Yeah, just a plot point there.
But so obviously then the chase is on, because Gary Sinise also knows where she is.
Yeah, and she knows who Gary Sinise is as well.
Yeah, because the reason that is, but it's made clear soon how she knows who he is.
Yeah, I like the way Sinise plays it, because she ends up in a lift with the fat guy going up to his room, and I like the way Sinise is playing it. He's playing it
because he doesn't know that she knows who he is.
That's right. Yeah,
she knows him.
Yeah, but he knows what she is, but he doesn't know that she knows her. And the guy is there, and he doesn't know what to do, and he knows he's being recorded. He's a great actor, Sinise. That's why,
and then obviously they get lost or whatever, and then Nick Cage is running to the room. Now here's this. We spoke a few minutes ago. Sorry, I'm being very fucking, but it's just because I needed to say this. The scene where, so obviously they've lost Sinise and they've lost Cage, and they're in the guy's room. But not before there's this big long, like you were saying there, this is a series of shots put together. This is an establishing shot for a different film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great. Like it's as a physical thing, it's great.
But it makes it, I don't need it.
To what end?
Just show me you're in the room.
Yeah, he just had the means to do it. Like it's a big studio film. He's got the money. Why not? Like it's good. I do like, see, some of the stuff I do like. I liked the idea that Sinise is up there and he's kind of thinking, okay, I've got it made, I'll just go into the room and kill them. And then he gets up and it's like, there's like 100 fucking rooms here, I'll never find them. And it's not said, you just see the corridor and you're like, oh yeah, you'd never find them. What are you going to do?
Especially in a Las Vegas hotel.
Like, where they all look the same. And
there might be, like in Ireland, you might have a big, massive hotel with maybe 300 rooms, 400 rooms. There's hotels there with thousands of rooms. Like, do you know what I
mean? That was effective. Now this is coming up on the this fat
guy forgets what to do.
Yeah, he is so poorly written and over the top.
But one thing that I did think was a good kind of character point, because obviously he's trying to get head off, or he's trying to have sex with her.
And
then when he realizes she's not getting ball, he goes over and puts his wedding ring back on.
I didn't have a problem with that. That was okay. I like that. Yeah, that was a visual touch. I found I remember actually.
But here's where that gets annoying is, so obviously he's about to leave, or where he's kicking Carla Gugino out, and then Nick Cage just appears in front of the door, and he kicks him out of the room, right? Which is fine. You can imagine that.
I think you're going to mention the bit that really fucking annoys me.
So obviously Gary Sinise is then walking down the hall, and he goes like, "This hotel's a load of shit."
Yes,
and then he goes, "Oh, what's wrong? Show me." And as if you're like, I know he's an army man and he's in uniform, but you're not going to fucking. But here's the thing that annoys me.
Yeah, I think you're going to say the thing.
There's two things here, right? When he goes, I was just sitting in there writing a letter to my wife.
Even at the time as like a 12-year-old, I was like, that's fucking awful. What the fuck? I know I was 14, now, folks. Sorry.
Then he goes back and he takes a key out of his pocket and puts it in the door. And why did you not just do that in the first place? Like,
jeez, I never even noticed. I was still cringing from his fucking line about, there I was writing a letter to my lovely wife. Oh.
But he just bangs on the door. We spoke about this in I don't know which one now, but it's about when writers forget how people act and what they would actually do.
Yeah,
that's a real situation like that.
Well, he needed to walk around that corner so
Gary
Cage,
Sinise.
to meet him, and then so they could leave Amscray out the other way.
Like it could have been a case where he was banging on the door and then Sinise is just walking up the corridor. They didn't need to leave and walk around the corner.
No, but
the idea that he just accepts that Nick Cage is in his room with a woman.
Yeah, well, that line it's still actually it's probably
I was writing a letter to my dear
wife. It might
wife.
be the cringiest line I've ever heard. Like, who the fuck wrote that down and then said,
but they did it perfectly.
That was actually
really
good. Yeah. I found the actor now, he wasn't good in that scene. I found he played it like way OTT, and he is. I think the implication is he gets killed. So I think you're kind of not supposed to think he's very. They don't actually show Anton, but I kind of got the feeling like Sinise kind of just takes him out or whatever. I did like having buried him. I like the fact he goes, hey, is that a silencer on Sinise's gun? Because he's the kind of prick who'd be interested in that, you know. So then we go to
staircase.
This is a lot of people's the pièce de résistance of the film, to get really pretentious.
If it has one.
Yeah, because this is De Palma has a like a recurrent thing that he does is split screen, and there's split screen during this, which I've no problem with. I don't get a stiffy for it like some people do. But again, like I was told from different perspectives, there's split screen, you know, you see things like, to be honest now, I've every respect for people's differing opinions, but I find some of the stuff I was reading praising this film and its visual scheme very wanky. Like we see it simultaneously and this. I'm like, okay. But to be fair to them, De Palma does put that level of care into the visuals. Like there is kind of a subtextual meaning to some of it. So, okay, he's going for that. I just don't really.
So this is obviously Carla Gugino's version of events.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a thing here, right? So obviously when we meet her originally, she bumps into Cage and she's speaking to the this is where we find out exactly what she is and what she's doing there. Like, so she realizes that the tests that they're running on these missile systems are completely falsified, and they need to pull the plug. And
yeah, she's terrible in this scene.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's
but the right thing to do from a mechanical standpoint. So when she's up in the nosebleeds and she sees the thing, how does she end up back down?
Why the fuck was she up there? That makes no sense. Yeah. Well, she's up there so she can see that Kevin Dunn is
100%
the evil guy.
But just because obviously we've spoken about it and given plaudits to the film of it being kind of in real time. There's no way she's getting up there and down there in that space of time. It's the one kind of hiccup in the.
Yeah, it's to be fair now, I don't think I noticed it the first time I saw it, but when I rewatched it, I was like, wait a minute, why the fuck is she up there? That makes no sense. And it's so like, it's supposed to be the secret thing, and there's 4 of them standing in the middle of an open corridor putting fucking radios in their ear and like cocking guns or whatever. Like, it's pretty OTT.
And then nobody happened to see them putting the fella into the.
I know, Christ alive. But the Cage is fairly good. I think he's
really good here.
He's let down by
Carla.
By that and by the fact that this isn't a reveal for us.
Yes.
I think it would have played a lot better if it had been a mystery to that point.
I would have loved it. I think Brian De Palma robbed us of being able to be, my God, this is his friend. This is like, oh no.
Yeah, because that is the big theme of the film. Like, I'll come to it later with the ending, but De Palma was like, the betrayal is the theme of the film. Now, he is a big guy about government corruption. He's like, Blowout, which is another one of his films that I'm not as big a fan of as your Tarantino's, is basically like the Kennedy assassination, except with a different kind of a fictionalized Kennedy assassination almost. He's very big into, and to be fair, I think it's soon after this we can go back to the scene in the stairwell, but it is a very good scene, I think, between Sinise and the dad from Home Alone talking about the thing. We'll come to that.
Come to that in a second, yeah. Because this is one thing where, again, because if you think back to all the other point of views, Gary Sinise has voiceover and then it switches to but Carla Gugino was voicing over the whole thing. Now maybe that's because there's no dialogue for her up until she gets down to Cage and she's talking to the Secretary of Defense. But for me, it just sounds expository. Whereas I know that's what it is. She's explaining to Cage, but just from an audience watching a movie type of way, I've got the feeling that why is she explaining it to me? Like, we know this.
Yeah, I remember kind of feeling that it felt very on the nose, or
because if it's almost like just in case you missed it. Do you know what I mean? Real kind of.
Yeah, and I did feel like, again, he's a very good actor, great actor, Nicolas Cage. I just to repeat again, the moment is robbed of some of its power because it's not a surprise to us. You know, we should feel more the character's kind of disappointment in him. You know. Now
there's a very good. Obviously, you mentioned it there, where John Hurd and Gary Sinise are having...
The writing is quite good, and the way De Palma films it from these very low angles, like these are men making the world turn.
And I suppose, because I suppose there's something to be said, because it opens on Sinise, and then we see John Hurd's character, so you're like, oh, he's involved as well. Like,
yeah, well, just the way they play it,
the plot thickens, the conspiracy deepens. Like,
yeah, it's fascinating because John Hurt is barely in the film, but he's very good. He's brilliant. He really brings his game in this one. You believe him as
the billionaire fucking...
Yeah. And the way he plays of like, when he finds out like Sinise killed people, he goes, oh, more acceptable losses. Is that me as well? Yeah, and it's just, that's like, there's a great film somewhere in this, you know?
So after that, it cuts, as soon as he says that line, it cuts. Cage is put... Oh, actually, I have to mention, sorry, to go back to the stairwell. There's a real point in it where you're like, is Cage going to kill this woman? Or is he... Because he's like, she didn't do it. You didn't see it. You didn't this, that. But then she goes, oh, maybe I didn't because my glasses. And then he goes, oh, no, your glasses didn't come off. But there's a moment, and to be fair, she's not great in it, but you can sense that the character is afraid.
Yeah, I think the writing was... better than she pulled it off, where she does try and backtrack,
and but you can see that she's like, oh shit, you know him, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And that's a real
stuff. Yeah, I think they could have pushed the corruption of the character a bit more, because it is just an angle that they kind of leave behind at a certain point. But I will say now, so we're coming to what even De Palma on that Charlie Rose thing I saw him with Sinise said, the whole movie is the build up to the scene with him and Sinise in the... But
before that happens, he puts her in a room.
Excuse me, yeah. Which just is...
See, the thing is, but I know we're talking about, you were saying about leaving the corruption behind. I actually think, because he does not know yet what he's going to do. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't get the vibe that he's going up there, because I know he gets the idea, because he walks back into the auditorium.
Well, he's quite cruel to her, because she doesn't want to be left in there.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine in that situation being locked up?
Yeah,
and you don't know if Rick Santoro's on the payroll or not.
He is. Yeah. Like, it's... maybe I'm not giving the movie enough credit, yeah.
Obviously, what happens then is he goes back into the...
He remembers that there was a thing that he remembers back to the assassination. He kind of visually remembers seeing,
which is very well done here. The way the crowd appears and disappears.
Yeah,
like when he's looking around.
Yeah, it's some of that stuff is. It's a very apparently it did strike me as something like from an Italian Dario Argento film from the 70s. They're called Giallos, where he remembers back and then he's like, oh, wait a minute, I remember a detail that I hadn't thought about before, which does happen in real life, but he remembers like there's a blimp that's like filming things. Yeah. And I did find it like the blimp just is in the exact right spot at the exact right moment to see Sinise waiting to shoot the guy. Like, it's so obvious.
He revisits our friend in the CCTV booth or the pay-per-view booth.
Yeah. He's like, get out. Yeah. Like, all right, you're the man. Yeah. And like it is nearly comically clear on the video, like what's going on. Like it was so on the nose, but like, all right, fair enough. It's a kind of a plot point. But the scene does take off now when Sinise shows up and they have their showdown. Yeah, and
because it is what we spoke about it earlier on about how Rick Santoro is convincing Sinise to not ruin his life and not ruin his career, and so it's turned on its head here. And Sinise is doing the same for.
He's the corrupt Cage. One. Yeah, he's. I think in a way, like Cage feels betrayed because he's such a low opinion of him. But you're kind of like, well, why wouldn't he have a fucking low opinion of you? You know.
I suppose we can get into it now, right? Because we spoke about the. I find really you can argue that they left the corruption aspect of his character aside. Now this requires a bit of audience writing on my behalf, but I was unsure because when he locks her in the room and all, I went, oh, well, he doesn't, well, he still might do what needs to be done, if you know what I mean. It's not until here where he goes, why me? Because I needed a fucking dope. He hurts the beast's ego. And that for me is when he decides, do you know what, you're not getting away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I may have not given it enough credit for the writing.
Which leads into the morally ambiguous darkness of all the characters, because he's not doing it because he doesn't have a come to Jesus moment at any stage during this film. But he decides to do the right thing. And I think it's in that moment when his ego is kicked to bits and he goes, I needed some fucking...
I agree. Like, I think it's defensible. I just don't think it lands as well as they think. I'm actually...
As I said, what I just said there requires a bit of audience writing on the...
Yeah, maybe that's the only flaw with it, is that they don't really dramatize it as well. Or like, the scene is well directed. I have to give the film a lot of credit for how plausible and how sympathetic nearly they make Sinise's motivations. Like, he is just like, this thing really works, it'll save people's lives.
Yeah, but the whole thing, I'm sorry, the whole thing of, do you ever hear, like, it's very well played. Do you know what 28 men sound like drowning, what have you? And it's like, I'm sorry, it's that old fucking George who loves the death penalty in Texas. I hate killing, but I'll kill to stop it. That type of, that military man type.
Oh, okay.
So I don't sympathise with that. I'm like, so what? Like,
I don't know quite what it was. I maybe was just kind of disappointed with the film, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I just thought it seemed plausible, and I'll be skipping to the next scene. I like the fact that the film just stopped, slowed down, just close up. Sinise is very passionate. I just kind of like the dignity they gave the character. Didn't just make him like a money guy. Like, it wasn't for the money. He had, other motivations.
That's what he thought Cage was, because he offers him $1 million and what have you.
And they do. I did like, Cage doesn't say anything, but he kind of handshakes when he's starting to take out like his cigarettes, because he's like, oh man, that's a fuckload of money.
And not only that, but he's like, I've never killed anybody, which is a nice thing, because that's what he's expecting. You're going to pay me $1 million to get down there and kill her.
Yeah,
and it is a nice line where Sinise goes, you don't have to think about her again. She's my problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I liked how they sold it. Like, I never really believed Cage had, turn heel, as we were saying. But like, Sinise's arguments are fairly, like, you're like, I can see why you'd think Cage would go into this. And it does follow into the next scene where he's kind of telling him, look, here's what's going to happen if you don't go along with this.
Yeah, this is where Tyler turns heel.
Yeah, now what I like about it is Sinise doesn't say, we'll kill you. He says, okay, let's imagine your best case scenario happens. This is going to happen. Your wife's going to leave you. You're going to have no money. You're going to be broke. You're going to be this. And you're like...
If you're going to be the hero guy. You're going to go on TV
he was telling them the truth, like, because, spoiler alert, like, that is what happens. And I remember going, that's actually something might convince a person. That's not what was meant
to happen, but we'll come to that.
Yes, it is like, this would convince certain people, like, what the fuck? Like, you don't have to just give it up like you've been doing your whole life. And I think they were kind of trying to make a little too much out of Cage being the noble hero at this point, and because
at the end of the day, right, if you go down that route that I kind of deal with the film of, well, his ego's being hurt, so he's not going to let his friend do
which
that
is more interesting than the typical thing,
and that's, but this whole, because he does not have a come to Jesus moment, not even in the stairwell does he have a...
Well, I thought I didn't like now, and I thought it was the one bit that I was like, this is the De Palma drawn out stuff that I don't like. Because essentially the film is nearly over at this point. It's just that the way they play the music, and the music is like this sad, nearly when he's as if it's like this epic walk, and I'm like, well, he's just kind of walking there to go to her for what reason?
Yeah, but I do love the fact when we see Tyler turn heel. Where, because he's obviously at this stage, Sinise has pulled the gun on him, and the friendship is over essentially.
Yeah,
and he, in a last grasp at anything, he goes, "Well, Tyler told me straight away," and then Tyler's just standing on the yoke. Yeah,
that reminded me of how they used to do things in Game of Thrones, where they'd be like, "But have you thought of this?" And then the character walks.
But see, the thing is now, one thing we mentioned is, just after we find out that Sinise is the bad guy, he visits Tyler. So he doesn't just turn heel. He visits him and says, right, we'll give you more money, or we'll give you something.
There's some plausibility.
Now, we don't see it, but we see him knocking on the door. And at this stage, we don't know that Tyler knows who he is or anything like that, but still. But so you see him there, and then So we go down then into whatever basement or whatever of the, and he's getting pieced up.
They're beating the shit out.
This is very
Tyler's
funny.
beating the shit out.
I think I genuinely found this funny because he's like, "Come on, champ, yo."
Yeah. That spoke to the character.
And then, but you see Tyler, like, because I mean, there's something sympathetic about him because there's obviously mentioned throughout that he's in deep with casinos and all this.
Yeah,
and he doesn't
sense,
want to be there because he's like, "Will you just shut up and just like?"
You get the sense he's desperate as opposed to like a bad guy. Yeah,
because he's like, "Will you just shut up?" You know what I mean? Just and fight back. He's asking him to fight back. I don't want to hit a man that has his hands down on him. But then he starts annoying him and he starts really piecing him up.
Wants him to fuck him out. Yeah. No, I like Sinise's whole thing there, where as he's kind of, it's shot from that nice low angle, and again, though, I just don't find Sinise an intimidating enough presence. His acting's so good, he kind of pulls it off.
Yeah. But there's a great line. I can't think of the line exactly about. It's something where he gets very military and he's like disgracing the flag, that type of stuff. And then Cage smiles and spits on his
medals, or whatever them things are.
And that really angers Sinise. And he made, but the thing is,
that's when he knocks him out with the punch.
Yeah, speaking of someone who's not that intimidating, that little yelp he makes when he hits,
yeah, I noticed that actually. Yeah, I was like, after the fucking heavyweight boxer guy.
But they could have dubbed something over.
Yeah.
No, because it's not Cage's yelp.
No, it's Sinise. Yeah.
They could have dubbed it over with someone with a big grumbly voice.
Gary Sinise knocks him out with one punch and your man couldn't fucking do it.
Well, to be fair, the hard work was done. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so then after that, it's basically just they put the tracker on Cage, which they had set up earlier.
Yeah. And it's a very funny shot, though, where he pulls up his head and goes, if it was anybody else, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
Now, Nick Cage
is out for the count.
Yeah, but his face, he goes up. Do you remember that meme of him in that vampire thing?
Oh, yeah.
Like that. That's what his face himself.
He's kind of pulling that in.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, here is where I get a bit annoyed. Just because, I mean, obviously the film has its flaws and its holes, but this one just really annoyed me. It's because obviously he's after being pieced up, he's knocked out. Now, Sinise puts the tracker on, right? So he wakes up where he was left and nobody's there. And not once does he think, I maybe shouldn't go to where I put this woman.
I always just read it as he's so fucked up, he's acting on instinct. That's what I thought,
that makes perfect sense. But just for some reason, I don't like the fact that he just goes straight
It is
there.
like dramatically in the movie, what is he doing? Like, he has no goal. He's just walking to your one thing.
And does he really, he's only met her for one scene at this stage.
Yeah, and the music is really playing up the tragedy, like the noble hero,
And again, what happens? So
journey.
What's happening is Sinise has the tracking dot on him, so he's following him, and then he finally finds him. He puts the tracking thing away, and he's just following him. Now, this is where the storm is really heating up. It's really getting bad, and then obviously there's lightning strikes, and so we see.
Really
here's where it gets a bit wanky for me as well. So obviously he sees the shadow of Sinise, but Sinise doesn't. It looks up as the lightning goes, so he doesn't. Sinise still doesn't know that Nick Cage knows him, so they had to put another one in just so Sinise knew that he knew what he was doing. Yeah. It's not needed.
That's the stuff that to me is in every De Palma movie. I'm like, come on, man, this is going on too long.
And then this stupid thing of I'm not opening the door, man. You open the door. I'm not opening the door.
You could maybe, and again, it does not work. I don't like it, but I think the idea is, okay, I don't want to kill you, man. Get out of the way. But I'm like, come on, man.
But it's not even that, because I mean, if you look, like, they're both adult, intelligent men. He knows that he can just shoot into that room.
Which he eventually does, yeah.
Which is another wanky bit, because she's walloping the bleeding keypad, and then all of a sudden the one bullet that hits and opens the fucking door.
Jeez, I forgot about that. I do just have to go, like, because the guy who wrote this, David Koepp, he's actually a fairly acclaimed screenwriter, and I have to guess he kicks himself. He's like, man, I took a major character and I just literally locked her in a room for the last 20 minutes of the film. Like, it is just kind of a surrender. Like, it just doesn't. But I mean,
when you really think about what, like, I mean, I know we kind of have an aside here. Like, what else are you going to do with it?
True. Yeah. It just kind of feels like you're giving up.
Yeah.
Like, it's. I just don't. It just from the bedrock of it. I'm like, oh, I don't really like it.
Obviously, the door opens. They get through the door, and what's happened here is the good-looking news lady is back out on the rent, and there's another stupid shot of her in the fucking hurricane, and she runs out with a fucking umbrella.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why does she need the umbrella?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
The mind boggles.
But anyway, so she's out there explaining that it's the tropical storm is turned to a hurricane, and the police then are saying rock it up. Now here's where it gets a bit interesting, because obviously there was an alternate ending to this film.
Yes. Have you seen it? It's on YouTube.
I've seen it, yeah. It's terrible. Well, obviously it was unfinished, but...
Yeah, did you see De Palma's explanation for what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, so it was corruption being washed away.
The corruption is so deep, it has to be... I remember it was talked about at the time, and again, to go back to the Nicolas Cage interview...
So actually, just before we'll say what it is, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is there's a big, massive globe that's fallen off in the hurricane. And it comes rolling down the
boardwalk.
And so in the scene where the cops come bursting in, and Nick Cage and Carla Gugino end up under the car, and Sinise is caught at that stage. So what was meant to happen is that globe that rolls past the cop van that makes them veer into the thing was meant to... A tidal wave.
Tidal wave comes in,
Yeah, a tidal wave comes in, and you can kind of see glimpses of it.
You know what I mean?
A tidal wave comes flying in, knocks the globe into the tunnel that they're in. Nick Cage and Carla Gugino hit the wall. It rolls over Gary Sinise.
With no close-up. Maybe they would have shot that later or something.
Now, that's all you see in the unfinished version that you can find on YouTube. But what was meant to happen is, obviously it rolls over Gary Sinise. I can't remember now, was Carla Gugino to die as well? But Nick Cage was to drown in the tidal water, and he was to die as well.
Really? Because I thought the original, because in the long take that ends it, he references drowning in the tunnel or something.
So I think why that is, but he was never meant to make it out. But when they tested it with audiences,
they wanted him to.
They hated it, and there was obviously studio interference as well. Yeah, because it was going to cost a fortune to finish that scene.
The ending as it is not great. No, but it has a moment in it that I think is very effective when Sinise is caught. And it cuts to the video footage of him, and he's just staring at the cameras and like, oh fuck. It's quite effective because you just see in his face like, oh man, I'm fucked.
Yeah. And no, what I do love is when he turns around and tries to reopen the door.
Yeah, he's very good. That's actually, it just seems like a desperate guy. He's like, oh fuck, I just need to get out of here.
And he killed himself as some might say the way of the samurai.
Yeah, do you know I do remember thinking like, how did he get the fucking gun with a big silencer to shoot himself in the chest? But he couldn't blow his brains out because I think they were going for a PG-13, though they got an R rating, if I remember right. So I remember at the time that interview with Nicolas Cage, it was just a different era, but I'm pretty sure it was total film, and they said, what do you think about the ending? It's pretty over the top. They just kind of said it like outright.
The ending as it is, like the theatrical ending.
Yeah, and he was like, well, it's over the top unless you consider the original ending was a fucking title coming into it. But I just remember thinking, that was kind of a very abrasive kind of a question.
One thing that I did like, because obviously they went and reshot the ending to what it is now. And I do think it is just a nice kind of, I think that's probably, they didn't want to rewrite an ending, so they just took the speech from Gary Sinise and repurposed it into actual footage, like, do you know what I mean? Because exactly what I said, they're going to put a fucking flashlight up your arse, they're going to find all the corruption, they're going to find all this, and that's exactly, because you see him have his lovely day out, and he gets a medal, and typical Nick Cage way over the top smiling at
yeah. And then I did like where he's coming out of his house and he's a yellow Ferrari in front of it, like, which is fucking hide corruption.
No, but that's the car he drove.
Oh, wasn't that the one he drove in The Rock? Actually, I'm pretty sure it's a red.
Possibly.
Yeah. No, Sean Connery stole the Humvee. I think Nick Cage stole the yellow Ferrari. Yeah. But it was just like, he's so obviously corrupt. Like, jeez. And now I have to say, I do not like the final. As impressive as it is from a kind of technical point of view, I don't like the final shot. It's one big long take again.
Well, after a scene of, I'll see you in 12 to 18 months with Carla Gugino and this kind of sappy fucking... Well, but the last line of the film, because I don't think we touched on this enough.
He's fame hungry.
Yeah, but it's not major to the overall film, but it is a nice kind of character detail. But at the last shot is just him taking the dragon's milk. Well, at least I got to be on TV.
Yeah, that does kind of, it's kind of a happy ending.
And because then almost in key with the music, it cuts and it starts tracking towards the builders. Yeah. And it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, no, I mean,
we got to get this job done.
Yeah, what makes it impressive is nowadays, as I say, what they could nearly do is have him go, okay, we want him to walk out and then the camera pushes in, or then these guys start doing this. With CGI today, you wouldn't even notice. They could just film him. Okay, guys, wait 10 seconds. Okay, go. And then in editing, they can fix it. They would have had to do it in synchro synchronization, I think is the word I want. At the time, it's impressive. Having said that, I hate that shot because there's a bit where they're looking out over the sea and he goes, oh yeah, you know, like on the rocks out there. And I'm like, would you not fucking show us the Jesus things? Like, what are we...
Because you can tell that usually happens when an ending's been changed like that. That it usually happens that the ending remains unfinished forever. Because what they choose to shoot, they don't put as much effort into. Because usually what happens is a writer or a director will go, well, I get to hump in the studio.
My reading of it now was I didn't look at it through that. I just kind of thought like he just wanted it to be one take. But I was like, man, just show us what they're looking at, because we're supposed to be sympathizing with them. Like, shouldn't we see what they see? Or
I don't get it. But here's another thing. I don't get the writing there, right? Where he goes, pirates used to put a fake lighthouse out there and jack boats that came close to it. And the only difference between then and now is the lights are bigger. I don't really get it. Is that just to say? Funny
enough, you're bringing up something, and I wonder, was it something lost in rewrites or something in the scene where the title of the film is Snake Eyes, which is like a casino term. Hardly any of the film is set in the casino. It's not a major thing, but in the big scene where Sinise tells him is like, you know, I'm the bad guy. Yeah, he starts off by going, oh yeah, I'm the sucker now, and he kind of emphasizes it in a way of like, you know, this is casino lingo that had never been in the film before. And Sinise says, you got snake eyes. And I'm like, he doesn't seem like a guy who knows casino lingo. And then at the end, Cage pays him back. It's like, it's over, Gary, whatever. Snake eyes. And I wonder, was that kind of a leftover from an angle that they kind of cut from the film, less and less of the casino stuff? Because Luis Guzman plays a drug dealer in this who's barely in it. I was like, would he
he's
not
only
come
in
back?
It in the finished version. He's only in it to give Cage money, basically.
Podcast alumnus Michael Rispoli is in flashback scenes and doesn't really come back into it. I just wonder, was there stuff like more of the flavor of like a corrupt city?
Because at the end of the day, because you know me, I love me 90-minute wonders. This is 1 hour 38 minutes, so that's it. Like, in terms of if you want to sit down and watch something, it's not going to change your life, but it's an entertaining movie to pop on for 90 minutes. Like.
It is something De Palma referenced in that interview on Charlie Rose. Like, he was like, I wanted it to be quick. It should be quick, get in, get out. Don't want it to be boring. It should move. And I was like, all right, well, in my memory, this was a 2-hour film. It does get through a lot now, to be fair. But yeah, I could have that final shot. I'm like, come on,
because
man,
at the end of the day, the final shot, it takes place over the whole entire credits, which are long enough. It's quick, and it finishes on a final shot of like a jewel in a pillar. Yeah,
there was like the ring on one of the people who was killed through the film or something.
So essentially what it is, as far as I know, it's the ring on the fiery redheads.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah. I thought for a while it was the fat guy's ring, because that would have been a reveal that he died, but I don't think it was. No,
I think you're right. It's a big fat
it's like ruby, it's a red ruby or whatever.
But, and apparently, like, it's not quite obvious to me watching it, like, and as you've heard, like, I'm very into the kind of hidden symbols and and different things, but I didn't get it. Like, I had to read about it to find out
what it was. A huge build up to what.
So what it was, so it's new beginnings, but at the foundation of it is the corruption. That's what it's a bit wanky.
It's a bit wanky, yeah. Look, I mean, I'll give him points for trying to tie the visuals into themes. Like, I mean, as I say, thematically, the tidal wave is trying to get at something. I'll give it points for that. I don't think that was a successful idea, although everyone on YouTube was like, this is a much better ending. I love Snake Eyes. And I'm like, all right, well, fair enough.
Do you know the way we're talking about people on YouTube? Yeah. We're now those people on YouTube.
People, even worse.
Let's hope there's a fucking podcast in Tennessee or something talking about how this film is amazing and how Egypt's on YouTube
only
don't know what they're talking about.
Wouldn't like this film. Yeah, look, I don't think now, I think even in the De Palma kind of canon, this is not a well-regarded film.
No, it would be very rightly low down on his.
But as I say, he's just, and I don't like saying it of someone who I have a lot of respect for, but he's just not really my cup of tea. Like, having said that, I like a lot of this. I like some stuff in Carrie. Some stuff in Carrie is like 6 out of 5. There's bits in it though where I do find myself going like, that's you know, you had a winner here and you kind of screwed it up.
The story of Carrie is just heartbreaking in any way.
Yeah, well, there's so much stuff in it that's like, as I say, just 6 out of 5, and a lot of it's De Palma, but there's bits in it that I'm like, can you just not be yourself for like 5 minutes, and can you just film it with reverse shot or something? Like, man, you don't have to. But I like how he swings for the fences. Like, he's a big cinematic stylist, and I do really admire that. And I wasn't joking when I said I'd love to see this on the big screen, actually in a 35mm print, and see what it played like, because I'd say you're missing something. Like I watched it on the Shag and Laserdisc on a CRT TV with the widescreen, so it's pretty small on the screen. Now I did watch it on my big screen with HD, but to see it in the cinema now would be very interesting, because as a physical production, I can't really fault it. I think some of the energy was put in the wrong direction. He did actually on Charlie Rose, like Charlie Rose said something like, did you ever say like all this stuff like acting and story, it's something like that doesn't really matter compared to the visual design or something like that? And he did kind of go, yeah, like I think he said, as it relates to visual design or something, he was kind of unapologetic about it. I was
well, I mean,
play.
it's someone who sticks to his guns.
Yeah, fair play. Like, that's what makes his films stand out. And, you know, fair play, no notes there, you know.
So we come to the point in the podcast where we discuss the memorable moments in the film, what we think stands out.
What do you think they were, Keith? You can go first.
we know them as non-submersible units on this podcast. We may be completely using them in the wrong context, but fuck it, we own the podcast.
We're committed to it now, so fuck it. Yeah.
So non-submersible units. Now I purposely try not to overthink this beforehand. So I'm kind of put on the spot, and the only thing that's coming to me now is because although it can get a bit sticky, I think Cage loves playing Rick Santoro. And I think it shows, doesn't show enough to say it's like a seminal performance in his career, but it shows enough for me to go, okay, I knew where the film was taking me based on Cage's performance. And
no one will forget he's in the film. Yeah,
100%. Okay. It's not even that. It's like, it's just it's his caginess. He's peak caginess at times in this, and it's just very enjoyable to watch. And I really get a kick out of when I know an actor is enjoying what they're doing.
And for me, that was a good one. Yeah.
So
I'll pick the other obvious one, the opening long take. It is still something people reference to this day, and it is from certain angles still very impressive.
Yeah.
Like that they actually did it with that many extras.
Unbelievable.
There wasn't a lot of digital fuckery in it. I can't really take away how effective that.
Yeah.
Even
from a mechanical point of view, the moving parts, everything. Take away the story it's trying to convey. Just from a piece of craft, I think it's very well done.
Yeah, it's. I think we've referenced this on the podcast before about certain films, but it is a big glossy studio film. That's a one-off thriller. It's not a superhero movie. It's not an action movie.
They used to exist.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Where all the resources, like you can't do movements like that on a zero budget. Like it's just not possible. It's not feasible. Leave the extras out of it, but just getting craftspeople good enough to keep a shot in fucking focus for 10 minutes. It doesn't exist outside of certain systems. So yeah, it's an interesting artifact, I would say. This was reviewed like mercilessly because it was a big Hollywood film. Yeah, you might get a little more grace today, but it was just kind of the kind of typical thing they turned out in the 90s. Not maybe too typical.
You used to get 3 or 4 of these a summer.
Yeah, like just big in
this year we had
films.
F1.
Yeah,
and
which is an action movie with a lot of spectacle in it.
Yeah, but it might be 5 years before we get another one, because I think Marvel have the next 3 summers booked. Like, do you know what I mean?
Indeed, yeah. When will that train run out? I get in the juice.
If you were to give it a rating out of 5,
I'm being slightly ungenerous, but I'd give it a 2.
2. I'd go purely on entertainment factor. I think this is a solid 3. You can throw this on. You can have a popcorn next to you. You can enjoy it without getting too bogged down in the finer details. It is an entertainment piece of cinema. We've obviously done to death now what's wrong with the film and what works in the film, but just to sit down and watch it, it's an easy one for you sitting there with your missus. You're not really, she's not into action, you're not into romance. It it treads a line, like, do you know what I mean?
It does. It doesn't fall into either one of them camps.
Exactly.
I will say if you'd gone even 0.1/3, I would have had an argument. But 3 I'll live with. Yeah.
So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Hang on, I'm going to redo that. So that's it for today. So that's it for another week. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff.
What do you want us to cover?
Exactly.
Any Nick Cage films in the past that you'd like us to talk about? De Palma films?
Or maybe you think this is fantastic.
Yeah, do you think we're complete fucking idiots and we've missed the point? Because I genuinely...
There are people out there who adore this film.
I am not saying when people say they love this, I am not degrading them. I take them at their word. I found some of their arguments a little much for me, but if you're one of those people, let us know, guys, because it's a open forum, and you know, I'm not a fucking major authority on this. What do you think?
Yeah. All right. So cheers. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, guys.